Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Glass Blown Open. It is the final round for the women's lead card. This is the front nine. We want to thank Dynamic Discs and the PDGA for bringing this coverage.
My name is Paige Pierce.
And I'm Zoe Andyke.
First on the tee, you have Catrina Allen. She has a 35% birdie rate. She's at -4 overall.
And second, we have Paige Pierce. She's at 2 over and 15% parked rate.
Next up is Jessica Weese, the disc princess on Instagram. She's 11% parked and in third place with a +3.
And to round out the card, we have Rebecca Cox back on here. She is in 4th place currently at 10 over with a 69% scramble rate. That's really good. Hole 1, you know what it is. It's a par 5, 1,093 feet, OB lining both sides. Everybody knows you want to be on the center of this fairway, potentially a little left if you're throwing righty backhand hyzers. Let's see how the ladies attack. This is going to be a really exciting day. The wind isn't quite as high. The players are completely adapted to the course and know their plans. What will it bring?
Teeing off first from Pipestone, Minnesota, sponsored by Prodigy. The 2012, 2014, and 2016 Glass Blown Open champion and 2014 World Champion, Catrina Allen.
All right, Catrina.
You gotta love the announcer, his wonderful radio voice, the way that they have stats on the players, all of the different unique things that they have brought to make this national tour absolutely special. Oh, it looked like a little bit of a slide there on her back foot, but Catrina has put one out there in the fairway and made it to the left side safely.
Yeah, and that's a great place to be. If you're farther left, you have less things in your way. The entire right side, not only is there OB on the right, but there also, if you don't get quite that far, there's a lot of trees and bushes on the right. So left side is great.
World Champion, Paige Pierce.
Paige is throwing a Biofusion Defender.
This is my Bio Defender. Yeah, the wind was not quite high yet, but it was still seeming a little scary, and I didn't want to flip it over, so I'm just throwing it nice and hyzered out, trying to get on that right side, kind of near Catrina, and just avoid any obstacle.
Great execution.
Jessica Weese.
And here we have Jessica Weese, third on the box. Throwing that incredible sidearm, getting all that distance. Actually, Jess is hyzering out a little bit on the right-hand side of the fairway there. She may have a little bit of trees or bushes in the way. We'll see what she does with that.
And from Cincinnati, Ohio, sponsored by Latitude 64, Rebecca Cox.
And again, this is Rebecca's, I think this is her second time on the lead card this weekend. It's always nice to see her back up there, especially on the final round today. We'll see how this is her Ballista Pro.
You know, we've been seeing her on quite a few lead cards as of late. Her game is progressing pretty rapidly, and she's just such a fun player to watch. She has so much passion, and, you know, I just really enjoy watching her throw the disc.
And unfortunately, she finds the out of bounds, and her second shot has found its way back into the fairway, right up at the crest of that hill. It'll set her up nicely for the fourth.
Jessica Weese with her Faro here. This is one of her most overstable discs in her bag, so you will be seeing her throw this purple driver quite a bit. Keep in mind when you see that, it is the Faro, and that is a hyzer bomb disc.
And Kat's hanging it out over the right-hand side, hoping to hyzer back into the center of the fairway. Looks like she may have clipped a little bit of that bush and came out safely, so green flag is good.
This is my D Kitty Defender, Dustin Keegan special right there. Nice and overstable, get the skip, and I am in the short grass, which is all I can ask for, inbounds, with a chance to get up and down.
And Rebecca may have potentially pulled it a little too much or misread the wind. Either way, that resulted in an out-of-bounds penalty.
Jessica again with her Faro, kind of contending with that ball golf stake, actually. She gets down there, but it rolls across the street and does not find its way back in bounds. So she's going to be looking for at least a bogey here if she can capitalize on that putt. You know, as soon as Catrina grabbed this M2, I knew she was going to be up there for a putt. She throws this thing super well, especially out in the wind. She just really, really knows what that disc does, and she shows you exactly how it's done, getting to about 60 feet.
And is that your Marshall there, Paige?
That is my Marshall, yes.
Excellent upshot. A lot of trust in that disc. I believe that's your go-to upshot putter.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's nice and straight, slight finish at the end. Rebecca's harp does the same thing, and she's under the basket.
That was a great recovery, or hopefully, recovery there. And Jessica, that should be a tap in as well.
Catrina, early in the round, with a 6-stroke lead, chooses to just lay that up. She's birdied at every other round, so, one halfway decent hole is going to be okay in her book. She knows she still has lots of strokes, so she's going to be all right with that if she can hit this putt.
Paige walked away with a birdie there. That was a good start to the final round. And unfortunately, looks like that was just a little bit of a chain out left side. Kat will be cleaning up for her bogey, as well as Jessica and Rebecca.
And, at this point, the wind is starting to pick up. It's supposed to get more and more windy throughout the day, especially around 9 o'clock, which is probably about the time we'll be on hole 3 or 4.
Par 4, 557-foot hole 2 for the ladies. We've got OB up both sides and a couple of trees, again, at the kind of the final third of the fairway, making it challenging to get to the green. Got a little bit of a stroke swing there. Paige actually carding the birdie, and then the other 3 ladies with the bogey. Paige first on the box. Stay high is what she's yelling for right off of the tee box, because I think that was pulled a little bit right, but it does stay safe.
Yeah, the barrier tree is quite tall. I didn't want to get it that wide, but luckily I put the right amount of height on it so it stayed over the tree.
As you can see with those OB flags just starting to whip, the wind really is starting to pick up fast. And I mean, I can tell just from my sunburnt and windburnt face, it stayed steady all day long with pretty serious, different wind whips. I'd say up to 20 and 25 miles an hour at some points.
Yeah, when I checked the Weather Channel app before the round, it said by 9 o'clock we should have 30-mile-an-hour winds. And knowing our tee time was at 8 o'clock, I figured, we may have a couple holes free of the wind, but it was going to be a long round.
Jessica with that powerful sidearm, hanging it out pretty wide, but trusting that it will come back in for her, and I believe she stayed safe as well.
Yeah, she's a little deep, maybe a 25-footer, and in this wind, that is quite the tester.
Catrina with a beautiful upshot just past the basket. Should be a pretty routine putt there. Paige choosing a sidearm and also staying in bounds just inside of the circle there.
Rebecca jump putting her deputy just to get up under the basket. She leaves it a little low, but it should be a relatively easy to putt to hit.
I think with those branches too, Rebecca actually did about the best she could. The height was not really there, and that was a great par.
Absolutely.
Par save.
Catrina here for her 3.
And there's the birdie.
You know, after carding the bogey on hole 1, she wanted to make up for it, and she did immediately on the second hole. Really good recovery there, and we are off to hole 3.
Hole 3, we've got a few distinct gaps, and you've got to pick and commit. We've talked throughout the previous rounds how the center gap is the most favored and probably the most taken percentage-wise on the field. It's 489 feet. Very, very difficult to get in there for the birdie, but a par is a very solid score on this hole. And we have Cat on the box.
And this yellow disc, you may have not even seen this disc yet, even if you've watched all 3 of the previous rounds. She has bagged this one today, I believe, because of the wind. It's a D2, I found out. So it's really overstable at the end of its flight, and she's going to be relying on this quite a bit on this final day in the wind.
And what'd you throw there, Paige?
That was my Lucid X Convict.
All right, and it hyzered out and stayed safe perfectly, kind of just short of pin high, it looks like.
Yeah, a little short of pin high over there on the left, kind of close to the OB line, but it is in bounds.
And Jessica with a nice drive. She'll be happy with that placement.
Rebecca, now you can really see the feather banner starting to wave. She's throwing her Ballista Pro. Oh, and it was actually on a beautiful line. I would have loved to have seen that shot without hitting the tree, but unfortunately, she's going to be about 320 feet. It is downhill. And, you know, she comes up a little bit short, a little bit too much hyzer with that downhill slope. It just lost speed and fell into the hill.
And Jessica executing a great upshot inside of the circle. You can see that wind is seriously, drastically, I mean, it's probably doubled in speed since the last tee box and is doing nothing but picking up.
Yeah, and you know, when you're playing a tournament, you have 30 seconds to throw your shot. So a lot of us that have been competing for years in tournaments know, let's use these 30 seconds to our advantage and wait out a gap in the wind. But even in 30 seconds, there's no break in the wind today.
Nice par right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, pars are gold. A par like this, especially with that distance, definitely is gold. And with this wind. Oh.
Yeah, that one was quite unfortunate. And, you know, she did have the option to re-putt that one if she wanted to for the same score. But it was pretty close to the same distance. Honestly, as a competitor, I think I would have re-putted just to have a second crack at that putt. You know what the wind's doing now, and you can correct it, but I'm just not quite sure she thought of that option.
I see. And let's see. That was a par for Kat as well. Looks like Jessica is tapping out at this point, and Rebecca as well. We'll be moving on to hole 4. As you can see, par 3, 423 feet, all downhill and then uphill for the final, I'd say, quarter of the hole. There's OB all along the left-hand side and then a golf green on the right-hand side that you have to avoid. However, righty players are hanging it out over that green and the wind is crazy. This is the kind of wind where you don't want to put it up too high, yet putting it too low may not give you all the distance that you need.
Yeah, and throwing approaches today are particularly hard. You know, anytime you have to club down to a putter in 20-mile-an-hour winds is very scary. So we still do want to get quite a bit of distance. I'm choosing my Lucid X Felon here, ripping it as hard as I can, knowing it won't flip over in the wind, but also knowing there's no way for me to get pin high.
Excellent golf decision, though. I feel like You got to break it down in certain conditions, or else you could be working yourself and costing yourself extra strokes.
Yeah.
And Rebecca Cox makes it down the fairway as well.
And this is Jessica with her Scorpius. She's putting a good turn on it. And look at this disc, still stable out.
I was going to say, we haven't actually heard of her throwing that a lot this week.
No.
Did she put it in for today?
I'm not sure if it was in there as a utility disc or if she just put it in. But regardless, I haven't seen her throw it yet this tournament. So again, like Kat throwing that new Seppo D2, you will be seeing Jessica throw this Scorpius quite a bit, the tie-dyed Scorpius. Catrina with a beautiful approach there. She's pin high, maybe 25 feet to the right. But keep in mind, that is still a tester. When it's this strong of wind, it almost feels like the putt is double the distance.
I was just getting ready to say that, every player actually should be practicing in the wind if possible, but knowing your layup zones in the wind, boy, it's gonna help you either maintain, move up, or potentially move way down on the leaderboard.
So Catrina here.
Cashing
Wow.
in. That was a big par. Let's check the SloMez.
It seems like that should be a given. But that is such a hard putt. 25 feet into a straight headwind when you're in the lead, chasing down a
2019 Trilogy Challenge is
putt.
here. This is a fun, casual event that anyone can run. For the $40 entry fee, players get 3 exclusive discs, a shirt, and a mini. Then, using only those discs, they play around in a more casual atmosphere, but there are prizes for the winners. With already around 200 events all over the country, find one near you at trilogychallenge.com.
And Jessica tapping out her bogey as we move on to the next hole, 5. Par 4, 521 feet. You know what it looks like, the long, skinny kind of island almost. We've got OB really tight on both sides, and it's uphill playing longer than what feels like 521 feet. You're going to have to put together 2 really great distance drives.
Up first is Kat with that D2 wide over the sidewalk on a super hyzer shot. Gets the little skip and right to the center where you kind of saw her throw her approach from in round 3 if you watched. If not, I suggest you go do so right now. Just hit pause right here. Go catch yourself up on all the action. It's been a crazy week and, full of excitement.
Great shot there. Definitely full of excitement. It's cool when I believe it's cool when you get a chance to, have 4 different chances to play the same course, make your corrections, and then sometimes it's not even about corrections. It's about reading the wind, trusting your discs, and executing the shot once again.
Yeah, beautifully said. I really think it's something special to get 4 cracks at a championship level course. You're going to see better and better golf. And here we have Jess with her Scorpius out wide over the OB line. She gets that skip. She's a little bit short of that last tree, but she's inside circle 2 and will have a chance.
Looks like Rebecca's lining up the hyzer. Hanging it wide right over the OB. Can it skip in enough? No. That's going to be an out-of-bounds penalty right there.
Catrina with her 400 PA1. Wide around the tree. Hits the sidewalk and does not come back in. She'll be putting from just about pin high with an out-of-bounds stroke.
I appreciate you saying that too, Paige. Putting from about pin high. Sometimes it's hard to tell, watching from at home or different camera angles, where did the player go out? And you were actually on the card. So it's like, oh yeah, she's going to be up by the basket. We're all kind of hoping that that's a short enough putt to make. And again, in this wind, man, nothing's a gimme.
Jessica gives it a good bid, a little bit short. Honestly, she had the height on it, just a little bit more oomph, and I think it was in.
Beautiful, beautiful par save there. Absolutely. I mean, that's got to give a player some confidence after going out of bounds. Great putt there, staring at the out of bounds as well, and great birdie to card.
Thank you.
And for the par, Jessica cashes it. And Rebecca will take the bogey. Moving right along. It's all uphill. It's hole 6, par 3, 343 feet. You really need to know what your discs are going to do here. I know I took, kind of an overstable driver and threw it straight at the basket, which typically you would be throwing it in, not as windy of conditions right over that sand trap, but I know that there was a weird swill/headwind, and so I threw my disc right at the basket. I mean, I'm sure the wind was doing something different at this time. Looks like you threw the big hyzer. Wow.
Yeah, I hit just about basket depth, and then it skipped out of bounds deep. So I will be putting for 3 from about 25 feet. The OB line comes into play about 25 feet deep of the basket. So, best case scenario, I'll have a 25-footer. Catrina, on the other hand, goes into the OB short of the basket, which leaves her about 150-foot approach.
I'm not sure. That's not that Valkyrie, is it?
No, this is not the Valkyrie. I don't think we will be seeing her throw that at all today.
I can't imagine in this wind.
Yeah, this was an overstable fairway driver. I'm not entirely positive on the mold, so I will not guess on that. But
that's best said that way. Good shot for Rebecca. She sticks it in the center of the fairway. And
Catrina, kind of a jump putt / upshot throw. This is something that takes a lot of skill.
Practice and skill.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and that shot is not commented on enough. I think it's really difficult to control with the amount of speed, but also coming from the side of her body like it's a throw. I see quite a few players do that, and I think it's a great tool to have.
And Paige looks like she just missed it a little bit left. And bringing home the comebacker, cashes it in for the bogey. I mean, I feel like you were just kind of excited on that drive. I'm saying it's really unique that you threw it deep, because it looked like a tailwind on the tee box for you guys. I was looking at the flags.
Yeah.
I was looking at our competitor's hair, and you guys had a tailwind, so you must have blasted that and been kind of excited.
Yeah, the round prior, I had went OB deep as well, and I thought I had made the correction today. I threw it higher and spikier, but it just came in a little hot and got a bigger bounce than I had expected.
Gotcha. Got the elevation going down and then all the way back up for the par 4 515-foot hole number 7. OB lining the whole left side, and then it comes in and stays pretty wide on the right-hand side with the golf green. This is a very birdable hole for us. You've got to land, you've got to place yourself either in the center of the fairway or drastically left in order to get yourself a chance to get up there.
And I remember walking up to this tee. This is when I really felt the wind. My hat actually blew off my head. So we are all kind of on the tee box with 3 different molds in mind. Which one's going to handle the wind?
Oh, yeah.
And, it's kind of just a battle of the wind. And unfortunately, Rebecca makes the wrong decision, and hers flips OB on the right side. This is my Lucid X Felon, my most overstable disc in my bag. I'm just throwing it low and hard, knowing it won't flip, but I also won't get that far as it is a speed 9.
I mean, that's center cut. That's pretty much exactly where you want to be.
Catrina with that D2, She gets way up there and gets the skip. She is in a great position to get up and down.
Yes.
Rebecca here grabs her Ballista Pro. She lets it go a little bit high. Will it fight through? It actually does.
Yeah, as you say, it does. She's just outside of circle 1 there to putt.
And this is my justice here. Knowing I'm about 250 from the basket, slightly uphill, just rip it hard, knowing that it will fight through the wind, and there's no way for me to get to the OB deeps.
Man, you can just hear that wind in the audio too. It is whipping. And Jessica, unfortunately, I think she might have just pulled it, maybe also added a little bit of height, but hits the tree and comes down early.
Catrina with that PA1 gets it just about pin height, only about 15 feet to the right. She's going to love that. Having a 15-footer for a birdie today, final round, second national tour stop of the year. She's up by 4 still. She's feeling good at this moment, I would have to assume.
Yes. Rebecca with the jump putt. Just a little left, and it goes deep. And putting for birdie and cashing it in. Great job, Paige.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt like about a 40-footer, but obviously it was only about 20 feet. The wind was playing tricks on us mentally and physically. You can see one of the two at least got to Catrina on that one. Uncharacteristic miss there, but I have a feeling she will not dwell on that moving on to hole 8.
Rebecca cleaning up with a bogey. And let's see, this will be Jessica putting for her par. All right, yeah. We're going into the 8th hole, you guys. It's the hardest hole. There's a lot on the player's mind right now. Am I disking down to a mid-range or a putter? Am I trying to fight the wind? Am I keeping it low high? This is almost 1,000 feet. It's a par 5. The OB is tight, and the danger is real, especially when the water comes into play.
So I'm grabbing that Lucid X Felon again. I'm thinking wide and I'm thinking a little bit of height. It is a tailwind, so I know it's going to drop it, but it is also going to make it hyzer a little bit more. I stay safe just by the short tee, and I'm just happy to be in bounds.
Yeah, definitely.
Jessica a little bit wider. She gets a little drop from that wind, but it
And
rolls
sneaks it in.
OB. I mean, safe.
Oh, yeah,
it
it's
rolls
safe.
from OB into safe. Really great break there for Jess.
And Kat's keeping it low and hanging it out over the right side OB as well. And keeping it safe, maybe a little bit shorter than what she would have dreamed off the tee pad, but very good golf play.
Yeah, she's going for the fatter part of the green, taking some of the risk out of it. She's throwing a mid-range there, so it's a really smart play. You know, with a lead, all you really have to do is maintain, so it's a really smart decision by Kat. And now she's grabbing that D2 that she trusts. I thought it was beautiful out of her hand, but she got a skip and a roll, and it unfortunately ends up out of bounds.
So much ground action and so much skip and roll away capacity in this weather. Rebecca hanging it over the sidewalk, and it's skipping safely. We love seeing those green flags on a day like this. Any day, but especially today.
Jessica with the flippy star Vulcan that she carries. She throws this thing super well, and I'm really impressed by this shot in this amount of wind with one of her flippiest drivers.
Paige looks like she threw it pretty wide there over the sidewalk, and it did not quite come back in bounds. Taking it from, I don't know how far up. Or how
About
far
the top of the hill. I'm going with my Lucid X verdict here. There is a tailwind, and I'm praying for this thing to get down, but it does not. I am OB in the water, just short of pin high, and I will be over there putting for at least a bogey.
Cat's keeping it low and piping it straight. It is a little shorter than she probably wanted it, being outside of the circle. However, she is safe.
And now Rebecca up. This is her getaway. She kind of... I don't think that was as wide as she wanted it to be.
Definitely not. I think she wanted much wider out of the hand.
Yeah, so she will be OB kind of near me, but a little bit farther. And
Jessica getting clipped down by the tree. She is probably at the edge of circle 2 here.
putting out wide with a slight anhyzer, not quite enough, and also a little bit too wide. So she never gets close to that one.
So, from 41 feet, all the girth and the power in the world just chaining out left.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was in. You know, there's some of those ones that could have stuck, but was it actually a spit out or was it a little bit left?
It was a really good attempt. Jessica kind of having the same problem. I mean, it looked like it was in the center. However, just kind of splashed out the left-hand side.
Yeah, the way that it went into the basket looked pretty similar, actually. Maybe that's a note for us to take. You know, we play on a lot of different basket types. And maybe for us to put into our notes, veterans don't hit low left.
You know, I really appreciate you saying that too. Whether it's Mach X, Disc Catcher, Veteran, any kind of these championship level baskets, it is good to know how your putt is taken by the basket or will not be taken by the basket.
Yeah. It is important. That's another thing we can practice in. I think it's pretty important.
And hopefully you get that disc back, Paige. But moving on to hole 9, it's a par 4, 611 feet. This one's tough. There's an OB deep out the chute, and turning the corner off the drive is absolutely impossible, so you've got to break the hole down. OB is lining the whole entire fairway, and as you can see, as you get closer to the basket, it's really, really tight and close to that basket. I mean, probably just about 20 feet away.
Yeah,
15, 20
on the
feet.
deep side and the right side. But up first, we have the tee shot. Jessica is going with her Faro and kind of puts a little bit too much torque. Does not get that friendly bounce that sometimes you may see off the side hill, and she'll be proceeding to the drop zone. Catrina with a beautiful shot here. This is her M2. She trusts it. Just full commitment, flat and low, and
Plenty safe.
yeah.
Rebecca looks like she's kind of playing the right-hand side of the tunnel, hoping it would stay in, but just not quite. Barely OB.
And this is my suspect. Somehow I found a gap. I was very disappointed with that release. I actually hadn't made it inbounds yet this tournament. And yeah, very, very fortunate there that found a gap and stayed safe.
And Jessica, I'm not sure if that's her Vulcan or what
It is.
that.
Yeah, her
you guys
star
see
Vulcan.
it flip right away in the air. I mean, it was almost 90 degrees right out the hand and cut rolled, so she is going to take an out of bounds penalty there.
Rebecca throwing her verdict here. She's looking for that to get down quickly. And unfortunately, it almost even gets up there towards the water, you know, kind of makes a couple of the fans jump out of the way.
Unfortunately, she finds the LB as well. And Paige is just taking a safe layup. Looks like you threw your Marshall there.
Yes.
And that's a smart play. You can't go too deep. You can't hyzer too sharp. It's in the fairway.
Catrina with her D1. She's trying to get around the corner, over a stable disc, get a little skip, and she executes perfectly.
Perfectly.
You know, at this point, we're starting to have the gallery all up the high side up there, down on the next tee pad, wrapping around every direction of us, and it's starting to get exciting.
It's getting really exciting. And the gallery, I must comment, was pretty big. I was impressed each time I was looking back from my card.
Yeah, I really think that this was the biggest gallery that I've had to date.
Oh, man, that's excellent.
It was really exciting to just have so many people there. And, it just goes to show you what a town like Emporia can do for the sport. And, only 8.5 holes in, and this is getting more and more exciting, and more people are starting to head out, get out of bed, and come to Country Club and watch some disc golf.
It's not even just the town of Emporia, which is absolutely incredible to support. I mean, I heard a few people talking about waking up and driving 2, 5, even 10 hours to come and watch the final rounds here today. Mm-hmm. Quite a few people really excited about the national tour happening here.
Great hit by Catrina. She's carding a par. She is currently at 2 under par. I have made up a couple strokes on her, so it is getting a little bit closer. She was at 6 ahead of me going into this round, and now only 4 strokes. We're headed into the back 9, and things are getting interesting at this point.
Rebecca carding the triple bogey, and Jessica the double bogey. So 2 incredible pars there by Kat and Paige. Jessica is now at plus 11, plus 20, like I said, for Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us for the front 9. You're not going to want to miss out on how this tournament results.
Click the logo, subscribe now. Make sure you also ring the bell so you can be alerted when the back 9 drops. If you've watched thus far, there's no way you can't finish now. So go ahead and click the link.